What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, Randall J. Pitchford, I don't know if J is his middle name, is a dumbass. I mean, look, I'm a dumbass. I say it every time. Because, most of us are dumbasses in a certain aspect of existence, Like, you look at Bill Gates. I mean, he's smart in some of the things he's done because he's made a lot of money, blah, 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 Windows, Microsoft, all this stuff, right? But, I don't know, he's hanging around certain people, questionable, jumping over chairs. I'm just saying, dumbassery. Randall Pitchford III. I don't know if he's the first. I don't know. He's okay. So the last thing I remember he said in his long 20 tweet rant or whatever it was code your own game, then we'll buy it and we'll talk. Paraphrasing. Basically saying you can't say nothing because you ain't a dev and code your own engine. That's what he said. Code your own engine, blah, 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 right? And first off, I'm like, first, Unreal is not your engine. So what are you talking about? Second, when you say stuff like that, that means you have a handle on what you're doing, meaning the engine, right? This is specific to that one tweet. And I'm like, how can you even say that? Because you didn't code your own engine. So how you gonna sit up here and say code your own engine and put out your game and then we'll be a customer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Sorry, my nose is a little clogged up. Allergies. And so I'm like, what? And that kind of, all the dumbassery he said before that, like, what was it? You don't know what you're doing with your PCs, or this is a premium product for premium customers or players or whatever. Just look, when I say dumbass, it's a loose term. It's general, yes, but this is really specific now. I like to say dumbass because it's a softer term. I don't want to insult him in a way that would seem cruel, but some others would. I just watched Legendary Drops video on him, and if y'all want the meat and potatoes of it, I know I kind of put the frosting on top, but go watch his video, Legendary Drops. He goes in about 23 minutes on them, goes in a pause, and so, but like how? First of all, as a CEO slash creator of games that you want people to buy, why would you say if you don't? Then refund the game. Why would you say refund it on Steam? I'm like, of course you said it on Steam because you can't refund it on PlayStation because once you download it, that's it. Which is, anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So, Randy is a dumbass. The game is not optimized correctly. And this whole thing with Randy, it's shining a light on a greater threat to the industry. Not the industry as a whole. I would just say AAA industry. Like the industry where you want to make the best looking game. You want to be at the apex, AAA, quadruple A, whatever A's you want to call it, right? And so basically what's happening, and I would blame this on, it's a lot of different factors that are making this situation happen. First and foremost, the publishers. They want games to come out at a certain time during the year to hit the fiscal, month numbers and all that stuff. So timing, right? That's what. Two, the devs, they want to be ambitious. They have this new power of more powerful hardware. Let's do it. Let's take it to the max. The problem is that they are using the tools that they are afforded improperly. They are relying on AI upscalers to do the things that they should do. They need to optimize the game before slapping on FSR or Auto SR or whatever, DLSS. They need to do that before so that the foundation of the game is solid at least 1080p. I remember, I think it was NVIDIA said, this doesn't really work at lower resolutions. 1080p is the recommended base resolution to start with when doing AI upscaling and stuff like that. Was that, or is that for frame generation? I think it was for both, but I'm not sure. And so I'm like, the guys who made the stuff say you should not do 720p upscale. You shouldn't do 5 something p upscale, which is what's happening. And another problem with these devs is that they're focusing on PlayStation 5, which is the worst console to focus on because it doesn't represent the mass or majority of gamers. You focus on minimum spec PC, and then you go from there. That's what you do. And yes, the minimum spec always rises because of the technology, but it doesn't because it's about how many people with PCs who are gaming what they use. And Steam has those numbers. I think they said a 16, I think it was a 1650, GTX 1650 or something like that. Or, you know, some around, or maybe a 1080. I'm not sure, but it was like less than like the 2000 series. And so I would say, okay, start there. That's the lowest spec. What's wrong with that? Now, the problem with that is that, oh, they want to do all these special things and blah, 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 and make the game look pretty, and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you're looking at Borderlands, right? I'm like, Borderlands is not a game where you need to, like, as far as graphics, it's stylized. So when you have a stylized, look at Nintendo, when you have a stylized game, you are afforded the ability to cut costs as far as not development costs, but resource costs within your system, so that you don't have to do all these ray tracing, reflections, all these things, because it's your art style. Your art style is specific, and you don't have to be ultra realistic. And I don't understand how or why that game is chugging on PC, because, like, I mean, is the, I don't even know what the base resolution is. I mean, I haven't looked into the specs and stuff. But he said something about that too. Oh, the spec resolution, all the specs are out there for the minimum spec and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he is, I mean, we all knew he was a goofball and a dumbass for that whole flash drive at Medieval Times thing. But I'm like, how can you be so just unaware of, as a CEO, of what to say to not disparage your brand? You have a game came out, and you talk a shite to the people you want to buy your game. But then you alienate them and you say, nah, F you. You suck. You're not premium. Don't buy my game. I'm like, what kind of person is this? Is Take-Two, are they gonna fire him or something? I mean, can they? I don't know. I don't know, man. He's out of control. He's a knucklehead. Like I said, dumbass. And it's just, this is, like I said, going back to game dev. Like he's illustrating that the devs are focusing on making it all pretty graphics, and then they say, okay, well, if we do native, well, nobody's doing native 4K because they can't, it'll be running at 5 frames per second. So they say, oh, if we do native 1080p, it'll be 30 frames a second. Then we upscale it to 4K. Or if we do 540p, upscale it to, what can you upscale 540p to? I don't know. To maybe 1440, and it won't look horrible. It's just, it's a bad precedent, and it has happened already. And so now the practice is, oh, we're gonna do, and just slap that FSR or DLSS Band-Aid at the end to get the frames up. Meanwhile, they realize, they say, oh, well, it adds to latency. And then dumbass says, oh, the human eye can't even perceive latency as something. I was like, first of all, not true. Depending on the game, depending on what type of game, latency could kill your if you're playing a competitive game, you want zero latency. If, let's just say this, you got a bunch of 5 people, team of 5 here, team of 5 here. Team 5 over here, 5A, zero latency. Yeah, the graphics may be a little whatever, not as great or whatever, but they got zero latency. They're responsive. Team B over here, 5, they got all the ray tracing and all the pixels and everything, so they can see real sharp. But they got, I don't know, 150 milliseconds of latency. Who do you think is gonna win? No latency will always win over latency. Period. End of discussion. There's no discussion. So, I mean, it frustrates me because, look, I always say this. Console wars aside, that's just whatever rhetoric. But my concern is with the overall health of the video game industry in total, right? Overall health. And anyone who will open their flappers and damage said industry, I have a problem with. Any company that does something that harms or could potentially harm the industry that we love, I got a problem with. Now, what Randy said, doesn't necessarily harm the industry as a whole. It just shows his dumbassery and that I don't know if he's too long for this industry. I would say if he just shut the hell up and never tweeted again, he could be CEO for another 20 years if he could live that long. I don't know how old he is. But he just feels compelled to talk shite. So whatever, that's fine. That's business stuff. That's business. That's well, not perspective, but it's just, the front facing whatchamacallit. And as far as for his company, he should have somebody that is a press person, not him. Generally speaking, he has the CEO. Well, I think Phil Spencer and some other CEOs, Reggie Fils-Aimé, they came out and they became like kind of the talking head of their company and stuff. But Randy Pitchford doesn't need to be that. Get somebody else to be that person because he's not good at it. Just saying. But like I said, my concern is of the industry and their practices, and this. Let me just say that this really only affects the AAA space. These studios and these devs and these publishers that are trying to do these big games, and they're trying to cut corners to cut the budget to make them cheaper, which is fine. Being smart about how you make a game, but not with putting the Band-Aid on it. That makes the game worse. It makes the game worse graphically. It makes the game worse gameplay wise. Excuse me. So that's not the way to go. You have to make a solid game beginning, and then you slap all the good stuff on top. And we're at a point where graphics are so good that they don't need to be any better than they already are right now, as long as the gameplay, the animation blending, all the things that traditionally make a game good just need to be there. And when you have, if it's smooth, if it runs smooth and it looks good, it doesn't have to look like the best, but if it looks good and it runs smooth, I always go back to this, even though I hate their guts. Nintendo knows how to make good games. And you look at their graphics, they're like, that's not the best graphics. That's kind of hot trash if you want. If those games were on PlayStation or Xbox, they'd be like, get these kitty-ass trash games out of my face. I want real graphics. But no, it's Nintendo, so they get a pass. And generally speaking, they perform pretty good. I mean, there's some frame dips on Donkey Kong, but, that's on them. But, part of it is gamer culture and what I would say mainly PlayStation gamers have been indoctrinated to expect, meaning movie-like quality, blah, blah, blah. And today, I think Alex did a video on Nib talking about he wished that the devs would focus more on 40 frames a second than 60. And I'm like, that's a whole nother problem about the industry. And if the devs actually listen to Nib, we're in trouble. 60 needs to be the default. That needs to be the bottom. It used to be when we were gaming back in the day, Gen Xers. When we were gaming, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, NES, Super Nintendo, everything was 60 frames. Everything was 60 frames because the technology required it to be 60 frames. Televisions were 60 hertz. You couldn't do 30. I mean, you could, but it would slow down because the hardware couldn't keep up. It wouldn't drop frames. It would just be like, I was like, remember slow down? Remember flicker? Remember when your sprites would be flickering and stuff? That's when your console's struggling. And the console wouldn't overheat. The fans wouldn't go all high because there were no fans. You know what I'm saying? This whole nother time, a whole nother era. But now we got a bunch of PCs, call them consoles. Like, wait, does a PC have a fan? Yeah, console has a fan. Okay. CPU, GPU, APU. Okay, yeah. Hard drive. Sounds like a computer, don't it? USB ports? Yeah, USB. Oh, computer has that too. Oh, HDMI? Oh, yeah, HDMI. Oh, computer has that too. PlayStation, I would argue that PlayStation is even more of a PC than Xbox is, because you can literally take a PC component, an SSD, M.2, and put it inside your console. Sorry for the tangent, but I'm just saying. Anyway, that was a crazy tangent. But bottom line is that what dumbass Randy says is not going to affect the industry overall, but we need to be cognizant of idiots like him, dumbasses like him, and shout him out. I'm glad Legendary Drops came out and did a video about it. I'm gonna say my piece about it. And anybody else who spits the same rhetoric, I mean, the fact that he just said some dumbass stuff is one thing, but then he goes on to like disparage the people he want to buy his game to, and I'm like, I got no words for that. So whatever his fate is, I'm never gonna buy a Borderlands game anyway. I played I played the first one, and I think I played a demo of the second one, and I was like, I don't even care about this game. I was like, nope. I got like a vehicle I was driving. I was like, this is dumb. This is a dumbass game. So pass. The fact that they're on number 4 is just luck, I guess, or whatever. All that needs to happen is somebody needs to come around and make a similar game, similar looter shooter. I guess that's what it is technically, with a better world, and they're done, son. That's it. I don't think Borderlands is going to be long for this world. Well, we'll see. But anyway, I appreciate you hanging out. Like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think about your boy Randall and his dumbassery. Unbelievable. And yeah, are you concerned about the industry in a way? I mean, like I said, I'm not too much. It's only going to affect AAA development for the most part, because the smaller games don't require that much help with FSR and DLSS, because the scopes are different. So, and also the expectation is different too. But still, I think smaller devs have a greater handle on scope, and they do a better job at the economy of their budget, whether it's money budget or power budget. And they have to, because they are limited in resources as far as manpower and money. So I'll give them props all day long. And I think this is part of the industry kind of self-regulating, not regulating, self-leveling. No, just self-correcting. There it is. Self-correcting itself from what Sony implemented at the end of the PS3 to PS4 with all these movie games, high budget, out of the ballpark budget, too much money budget games, and now the industry is kind of coming back. And if you see these smaller games like Shinobi, like Expedition 33, blowing up the spot, going to be Game of the Year. If Shinobi or Expedition 33 win Game of the Year, You could forget about all this super, triple, quadruple A, all that stuff, because look, I bought Shinobi. I bought $40 version of Shinobi. I did not buy Expedition. I was thinking about getting the collectors with the soundtrack and stuff, but I didn't pull the trigger on that. I'm still playing it though. But like when I buy stuff, I do like to have physical copies, even though it doesn't really mean that much anymore. But it's like I'm paying the same amount of money. Can I just get a box with some art? I mean, give me something, you know. So I accept that, and it's not about, oh, I want the physical copy so I know I can have the game forever. I know that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. It's not really the reality, but you know, that's just in my mind. I'd be like, oh, if I do buy something, I'll always play it first though, and that's the beauty of Game Pass. Play Expedition 33. I'm like, oh, if it's on sale, I see it somewhere out there in the world, I'll scoop it up. I bought something recently. What did I buy? I got gifted Elden Ring. It was Diablo 4. Yeah, somebody gifted me Diablo 4, but I already played it. I already have it downloaded on. So I was like, I'll just leave it closed and, you know, put it on my shelf. So, you know, I still have that collector bug inside of me. So I just got recently, last thing. I just recently bought a little handheld device for traveling, basically when I go on a long trip. And it's like, oh, that's cool. I mean, it's a little small, so I might try to get a bigger one. I mean, I like what it is, but I see the allure of something like that, and that's where my mind is. It's like, look, if all these, if the big three go down, I'm good. There's over 50 years of video games that exist. I'm good. I can play games until forever, so it's not even a problem. But I do like what Xbox is doing. PlayStation's whatever. They'll be alright, but you know, whatever. And Nintendo, they kick rocks. They should have just made a Switch Pro. They should have called the Switch 2 a Switch Pro and kept the same library, because that's basically what they did. And that way they can count the Switch Pro with the Switch, you know, library, with the Switch console unit sales, and they would have passed PlayStation easy. But now they have a Switch 2. It's a separate console, so now they got started over. Whatever. I don't know. But anyway, sorry for the tangent on the tangent. But I appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all on the next one too.